this is Jeanetta, and I have something very special to you for you today. And I always say that, don't I? I got really something special. We have here a wonderful setting. If you can look around, this property belongs to Daniel, who was on my left hand side, and the Swatari and her husband Sentweli is there with us today, and we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to be here in Tanzania. And we don't want to try to get you so you're dreaming or everything's hunky dory or everything's all right, because there's some problems that we all have. Daniel has problems because he lives here, and we have problems because we got here. So what better people to talk to than a man and a wife that have a family here? And guess what? They don't just have one child or two children or three children or four children or five children. Stop me when I'm getting good. Six children. Yes. They have six children. And this baby was born just recently, not too long ago. Here, I think it was February. Was it February? It was January. Oh, that's right. He's in my birth sign. Yeah. Yeah. And so, we're just going to sit and kind of kick it around. The location, we're in Tangaro.
Yes, Tangaro.
Tangaro, Arusha, Tanzania.
Yes.
Is that correct? All right, Daniel. And let me ask you something, Sentweli.
Yes.
And Swatara, where are you guys coming from the United States?
We actually came from Texas. I was born and raised in Texas, and Swatara was born in Detroit.
Wow, you big bad Texas. You left Texas.
Yes.
All right. And Swatara, you were born where?
Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit.
Yeah, born and raised.
All right. Well, hey, girl, you've been around a little bit. Yes. Well, let me ask you something. And I want to know, why are you here? Little brief thing. You don't have to say exactly why you're here, because none of us really know exactly why we're here. But we felt the calling and found the place. Mm-hmm. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Yes. Yeah. So tell them, what was your decision? It was a big decision for you to move your family. And if they were my grandchildren, and I was back in the States, you'd had a hard time. I would give you a hard time. So tell me, what made you guys come here? What drew you to here?
Well, you talked about giving us a hard time. My mother definitely not really gave us a hard time, but she mourned like we were moving to another planet. But since then, she's been here a couple times now. And we were both raised in, African-centered environments. We were always taught about the beauty and power and strength of Africa and how we're African people. That's how we were raised. And so, I've always had this connection to the continent, but it was like, how come we aren't there? Or we don't really have a real connection with the people there. And then when you're in America, it just seems so far away and so out of reach. And we're in America trying to grasp onto whatever we can. We take African dance classes and we eat food from Nigeria and food from Ghana and different places. And there's East African restaurants. And we just try to grab whatever we can. We name our children names from the continent. But it's all like an attempt to really connect to our origin. And so even better way to do that is to actually come here and see firsthand, and not just what we read or what we think or what's in a movie or what white people say, or you gotta come and see for yourself. And our children, they felt the same way because we were raising them how we were raised. Yeah. And then they called our bluff. Like, how come we don't live there? Yeah. And we didn't have a good answer for them. So it was like, okay, well, let's go.
Especially that one outspoken daughter you got. You got one that she's a powerful one.
I'm
telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah.
But she, all of them, like I said, they called us out. and it happened during the height, well, not the height, but the very beginning of COVID,
Uh-huh.
when we were all locked down at home. And so we just kind of looked at each other like, you want to do this now? You know, while everything is, now's the time to transition. Like, there's still people who haven't realized we left.
Yeah.
And we've been gone 2 years.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, have you been here in Tanzania the whole time, or?
Yeah, we've been
Yes.
here.
Yeah. So you just kind of picked Tanzania.
Well, it picked us because,
Yeah.
like I said, it happened when COVID was, you know, big around the
2020.
world. Yeah, 2020. And Tanzania was the only place that we didn't need a test, or, you know, we didn't have to go through a whole bunch of changes to come.
Uh-huh.
Magufuli had it open.
Yeah.
And we feel like he had it open for us.
Yeah.
And it was the
Yes,
only place in Africa that was open.
Yeah.
And so it was like, well, I guess that's where we're supposed to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that sounds so good. Now, as a husband,
Yeah.
you know, guys are always kind of nervous about, because they're taking the whole family, their responsibility for the entire family, because I don't have to ask you what your family situation is, and I can almost see it. You know, that you both all give, but you usually have shown that you're the responsible. It's not no 50-50. It's if you do your 100, I'll do my 100.
Yeah.
So tell us about what went through your mind during that period of time.
We're basically just not only wanting our children to get more exposure to the world, but realizing that America wasn't fit for us anymore. Like, we were already not necessarily on the fringes of society, but we were pro-black, so to speak, and African-centered. And so having those perspectives in the States, it can be a little detrimental. It can be a little unsafe dealing with certain communities, certain government entities. Like, our lives were literally in danger.
Yeah.
And so instead of remaining in the States, we went ahead, got our children out of there, and that was part of my line of thinking, was to make the best decision for the children. And that involved leaving the United States. And we were considering visiting before COVID, but COVID and just the
Change your mind.
Yeah, COVID changed our mind, but the increase in police murdering unarmed black men and women and children, like that became part of the push over the edge for us, and we were like, it's time to go.
Yeah, and so many people don't see it. So Daniel, you being here, you living here, you know, and this is your country here, and you're fortunately you weren't one of the families that was put on the ship. So you all were here in Africa. And have you ever wondered why we're trying to make a race to get back to the motherland, why we're so anxious to get back to Africa?
Well, I've given it a thought sometimes, but it crosses my mind. And one thing that I'm just glad is that we Africans are really open to those who want to come back. We open our doors to them, and we try to live in harmony with them. And when it comes to my mind, it is more of exploration. It's more about finding yourself. It's more of how did our ancestors live? What were they doing? What was their ways of life? So just as Mama said over there, it's more of connecting yourself to your past. So I think most of the times when people come back to Africa, race to Africa, it's because they want to know, they want to live, and they want to feel it, not just being told about it, not just hearing about it, not just seeing about it from the internet, but mostly is living it, you know. It gives you this affection, like, okay, so this is how it feels. And I think that's the real reason why most people race back to Africa.
Yeah, because really, when you think about it, St. Orleans, Ouattara, we don't have a home.
Right.
Yes.
And I was going to mention that dynamic of it, raising our children here in an effort to really reintegrate them back into our motherland. Potentially, like our oldest son is 12. 6 years from now, he'll be 18. He could very easily marry a Tanzanian woman or Rwandan woman or Kenyan woman, and then their children will be Kenyan. My grandchildren, will be, and after that, we'll be back here. I thought about the last woman in my bloodline. Who was the last woman in my bloodline to give birth in Africa? How long ago was that?
Yeah. I think about that too. It just, and the ancestry doesn't quite answer it. I think I want to do that. Did you do the African
ancestry? I haven't, but I do recommend it.
Yeah, I want to do the African ancestry because it seems like on the other one they're kind of throwing us all in one pot. And I know we're not all in one pot.
Yeah, it reminds me of going to the mall and like getting something with the name and name meaning on it, and they pull out of a big pot what your name means at random. That's how Ancestry.com feels.
Yeah, so to really find out, and there's something now everybody doesn't want to know. I have family members that they don't really care. It makes them no difference. And unfortunately, my mother had some books that she read us about Africa, about Liberia, I guess specifically, but different parts of Africa. 'Cause I had always a curiosity. But when I was a kid, you better not call me an African. That was an insult to be called an African. And what they displayed, Daniel, on the television and network and everything, I didn't really want to be black neither, Negro, colored, and all them things. I've been everything. And because they made it a shame to be it, and made it a shame to be who we are. And we were so embraced and indulged in this propaganda that we even laughed at things we should have been crying about and been very angry about, because they portrayed us as goofy, like the two characters, I can't think of the name, Amos and Andy, and all those kind of things like that, Step and Fetch It, and all those kind of things. And we had good actors, but the roles that they played, with nothing wrong with the people, but these were the roles that they had to play. This is what was important. So to get over here, but the only disappointment, Daniel, I have is your names. Here, we're in the United States trying to get our African names, and we come over here and you have European names.
Well, I know you have another name.
Yeah.
Yes.
A Meru name.
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
What is your Meru name?
Here we are normally, when we are given these names, like Daniel, these are the ones that we use in the certificates. But growing up, we all have this, what do you call them, cultural names or native names. So we normally have those names.
That's the name I prefer to use.
I do too, even though I mess it up. So what is that other name?
So growing up, I was called Urasa.
Urasa.
Yes.
So, now that has much power in Daniel, because Daniel who is Daniel?
Yes.
The thing that they have, because really actually Daniel is supposed to be a biblical character, but in the day that they say the Bible was, they didn't have no Daniels back there. They didn't have all those names, John, Joseph, and Christopher, and all this other kind of stuff. And so they had where to me, it's just kind of like our hair. Our hair intimidated them, and our name intimidated them. So much so, they shaved all of our hair off. Almost everybody you saw way back when, before the freedom, they had bald heads because they had to keep the head shaved off because it intimidates them. Because it's something different than they are. So, all those kind of things we grow up to. Now, all my friends and all my relatives, they say to me, "Ooh, you're really brave because you're going to Africa." Why? Because they know nothing about Africa. They only know what has been forecast, Daniel. Now, Daniel, when's the last time you had a terrorist attack here? Okay, well, the way they talk, oh, it's full of terrorism. And Daniel, when have you been broke, hungry, and needing a missionary to come down and buy you some clothes? Oh, well, that's what we see.
I've never.
Lies running around your mama and everything. You know, and they portray us in the United States as sitting on a raggedy front porch with some watermelon and eating a piece of chicken. I'm telling you, everybody eats chicken in the United States. They try to just say it's us to eat chicken, but they eat chicken, everybody eats chicken. And that doesn't make any difference. But what I know that we like to, in coming here and getting it, because we're grabbing a lot from Africa, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting a lot of strength from Africa. And we want to give strength to you here in Africa. We need you because you are, for us, a foundation. And we don't want to burden you, but we want you to know that we need you. We need your culture. We need your way of life. We need y'all to go back and get some of the things you gave up. Because we're busy trying to find out about our religions, our spiritual, not our religions, because we didn't have any, our spiritual, what we did spiritually. We're trying to find out about our medicines. We're trying to talk about our healers. We're trying to find out about those people that read the stars and the moon and said everything. We're trying to find out those. We came looking for that. And I hope that we didn't get here too late to where you all start saying, well, hey, you know, we got to make a change. We got to do something different, because our brothers and sisters came home with the anticipation that they would know Africa. They would know Africa. Now, Daniel, you know what? We talked about this before. You know, hey, girl, he's single, man. So, oh, my gosh, I know it. Girls, let me tell you something. He got some Messiah, but he said more Maroon. But I'm going to tell you, I can talk about the Messiah part of it. Girl, I'm telling you the truth. You want a man? Hey, they're all men. So I'm telling you the truth. Daniel is single, and that is not, Daniel, how old are you?
I'm 25.
What? Okay, girls, let me tell you, line up. I try to let him have 5 more years of freedom, but 5 more years of freedom, but blood of Africa. Woo! Good God, I miss him out. The blood of Africa flowing in the veins of your children. What else do you want? Calling your ancestors. You know what, Daniel? Let me ask you something. How do you feel when you say your African name?
Well, it's fun. Well, it's amazing. And that's the name, like, when you are somewhere with other people, you know, fellow youth, and we normally make fun out of them, like, so what's your name, from where you came from? Well, how do they call you? And you know, using these names, it really gives us our tribe. You know, like you feel proud of your tribe.
Yeah.
And normally we usually use our tribal names, but yeah, because most of us we are given these European names, but our 3 names, the last name normally is a tribal name. So we normally use the tribal name.
Thank God you didn't change them.
So for instance, I'm a Palanjo.
Palanjo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, what is? See, most of the African, they have meanings to it.
So when I'm out there, I'll tell you the meaning. So when I'm out there, I'm being regarded as a person from Palanjo. So they'll be like, hey, Palanjo, Palanjo Vivi, Palanjo Hola, Palanjo this. So it really feels, you feel proud of being a Meru, and you feel proud that they recognize that you're a Meru, like a walking Meru around Tanzania, around the streets, and it really feels good. And for Palanjo, as our ancestor's name, it was depicted from the fight that went back years ago between two tribes, and the Palanjo came off as a name that means power, strong, and it was given to to our clan. So we used that because we were really powerful people back there who were furious, could fight, they could this, and they turned this area was a forest back then with wild animals, and they were the first to come and change it into that. So they pushed the wild animals away. They took the areas, made a living out of it, and people regarded to them as Palanjo. So they talk the native language, but speaking about how strong they are and how furious they are and what they did. So they named them as the Palanjo. Very bad, very way years
Yes,
ago.
yes.
So
But that you need that because you can even tell the difference in his voice when he's talking about it.
Yes. Yes.
Because it empowers you. I tell people, go back to your ancestors, find out more about them, and empower yourself. Look in the mirror and say who you are, because that will empower you, and we need that kind of power. Because there's a lot in the name. Because there wasn't so much in the name, they wouldn't have had you change the name. Because the names have power. They have a lot of power. And our last names and this name. So it's kind of hard for me to think. I'll come back here. Now in slavery, they made me take Mr. George's name and Mr. Frederick's name and his last name. I don't know where they come from. But I know I was on that plantation. I know whatever. All these kind of things. But I don't have a name. So they took that away from me. And you can tell in our character, you can tell by the way we operate that we are people without the power of who we are. Who we are. Taylor, my maiden name was Taylor. That's some people up in England someplace. You know, but Taylor means nothing. Only the fact that I'm proud of my father and my grandfather. I'm proud of them as people. But it doesn't say where they're from, it doesn't give me anything. It doesn't give me anything. So when I talk to some, they don't even know what I talked to one guy, he said he didn't give his child an African name other than their last name. I said, oh, you got to be really kidding. And then my landlord's name is Harry Richards. I said, were you born in Tanzania? He said, yes. Is there a Richards tribe in Tanzania? I don't think so. That's really just giving it all up. And but we have the power source. There's those of us that are coming in here and we're looking for the best of everything. Have you had to use that squat toilet? You know the toilet where you squat down? Hey, you might have to do that. Hey, but it's not, you might be out in the bush, but I'm going to tell you something, there's something special. So you can keep thinking the only thing in the world is Walmart and all these places like that. You can have it if you want to. But it's nothing like carrying toilet paper in the car, so just in case. And a cup if you can't squat like I can. Okay. Well, beyond that, but let me tell you something, girls. There's some men over here. And Tanzania and in most of these African countries, period, the men are not all in jail. They're not all gone to war. They're not dying in all these wars, except for some of the countries. But the way these women have babies over here, the men are being replaced, okay? So I'm going to tell you something. The population of men over here is almost the same as the women. In Tanzania, I think I read, it's about 4950. Yeah, 4950. In the United States, it's about, for black women and black men, it's about 80 and 20. Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, so, this is a nice place to go, other than a house and then what you have a car. But this is also relationships and foundations and friendships. But it's not easy to transist over here. Daniel, I won't tell you. There's a lot of things. And when I came home, I almost felt like I didn't belong here either. because of what you had to do for immigration and all these things. So, but we have to be patient because they never expected this influx of us coming back. We've been doing this for the last 5 years, maybe, really doing it. And the last couple years, it has gotten more and more. And I'm telling you, if somebody special in the United States runs for president again or is president, there will be a poof. You all might as well get ready for the. Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So a lot of people will come, and you know we are people that are empowered. We don't have any ships, we don't have any planes, we don't have any bombs, we don't have this and that, but we got power that no other group of people have. And we just need to tap into that power source. And that power source helped build our nation. It helped build our nation. Somewhere along the line, we turned the page for some reason. That everybody gives a lot of reasons, but I like to find. Because it's only been the last 500 years that we have been subservient to anybody, you know? So we built things. And then in the United States, there's not much you can look at in the United States that wasn't built by us. You know, and I'm gonna tell you another thing.
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Literally everything.
Everything. And I'm gonna tell you something. The reason why they keep us out of things is because everything we get into, we take it over. Well, when I was a little girl, they had no black people on the basketball team. Then they got one, then they got two. Now you look, and the little girls now don't see any white people on the basketball team. Yes, and soccer used to be their game. We're taking over soccer. We're taking over golf. We're just taking, you know, because when we get in things, not only that, scientific field. Was it 2 women or 3 women in science that they finally divulged that helped get that satellite up?
Oh, 3.
Yeah.
There were 3 of them, mathematicians. And see, when I was a little girl, they always made me think that they were so much smarter than us. And they did this and they did that. And even now, some of it's just, we need to be over here. We need you all, Dad. We need you all.
Can I say something else to
Yeah.
why we come?
Yeah.
We also looking for freedom. You know, like just to be able to exist without being a target. Because in America, any moment in time, at any moment in time, you could literally be killed by the police.
Yeah.
Or by just a white person who don't
Yeah.
like black people.
Yeah.
At any moment in time. I know they played on the radio here the news story because Dada of mine told me, but in a grocery store, a white boy just went in a grocery store in New York with a automatic weapon and killed all the black people he saw. Like, it just went in there because he don't like black people. And I told her, like, if it was all Tanzanians in that grocery store, he would have killed them too, because we the same, you know? But over here, you know, I don't have to worry about somebody coming to murder me or possibly targeting me or my children or my husband because I'm African. I don't have to worry about that. And that level of stress that just looms over you. You know, it's unspoken, it's silent, but it's there, just existing that way. It takes a toll on you, and I would say it shortens your lifespan. You know, just constantly in that, like a deer or an antelope, constantly afraid. Seriously.
We could not even describe. We can't even describe it to make him feel to know what we're talking
I know.
about.
There's no real way.
It's no real way to
that.
tell you. Like if he went out at night and he said he was coming back at 1 and it got to be 4, we'd almost be going crazy. And in fact, if our husband or our son tells Mom, I'm going to do this, and you're thinking, which highway are you going to go on? Where are you going to be? Where, you know, this is that, you know, so many, even to the fact that a young man running into his house got shot in the back by police. I mean, and for nothing.
For nothing.
For absolutely nothing. Now
the
they
girl
always
sleeping in her bed.
Yeah.
The police kicked her door down and killed her.
So they cannot, nothing can get tough enough here to make me go back.
Right.
There's nothing can get tough enough.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Almost 30 minutes.
Okay. We're finished. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. It's so been nice talking to you all today, and I am just glad to be in the presence of you and Centueli Swatara, and because these are some dynamite people. I'm just proud of them. And Daniel and his mom, they're just doing it right here with their herbs and their farm and teaching people how to grow, and they're taking care of and training handicapped children. It's so nice. But girls, remember, he's single. Okay, that's what I want you to remember. Okay, so we're gonna shut it down today. But if you want to hear more from us, please subscribe, like, and share. Okay, so this is Jeanetta, and I will be seeing you very soon again at another scene here in Tanzania. All right, see you next time.